to 10E. Adopt a resolution authorizing the closure of Park Avenue between Chestnut Avenue and Oak Avenue on October 31st, 2016, between the hours of 5 p.m. and 10 p.m.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. A resident on Park Avenue requested the city to approve a road closure between Chestnut and Oak Avenues as the neighborhood receives high volume of trick-or-treaters in the past. The neighborhood is anticipating high volume of pedestrian traffic again at this year's Halloween. The city allows road closures through an encroachment permit application process for construction activity, special event permit, or under extenuating circumstances. Staff reviewed the request as a special event permit and determined that it didn't fit into the category. However, the requested road closure limits along Park Avenue is in the vicinity of the Mills Park neighborhood, where the city is currently experiencing an extended streetlight outage. With the streetlight outage and anticipated high volume of pedestrian traffic, the situation is being considered an extenuating circumstance as the road closure will improve safety for trick-or-treaters. The road closure will occur between the hours of 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Monday, October 31st. The time includes 1 hour prior to and after for setup and removal of barricades and cones at the closure limits. Some conditions will be required within the encroachment permit. The applicant is to provide courtesy notices to other residents affected by the closure of Park Avenue. The applicant is responsible for placing and removing all barricades and cones at the closure limits. Staff reviewed the conditions with the applicant, and the applicant acknowledged to comply with the conditions. As for the fiscal impact, there are none for the city, as the applicant will be responsible for all costs associated with notifying the neighbors and setting up and removing the barricades and cones. Staff is bringing this item to council for consideration, as it's not a typical road closure request. Going forward, the city council may want to determine a policy or procedure to evaluate these type of individual road closure requests. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Good. Any questions for Jimmy?
Go. Ken first.
Through the
Ken?
Chair. Staff report also says the applicant shall obtain an encroachment permit.
No.
What does that entail? And is that something that we do with, say, when Happy Hall has a closes? And what does an encroachment permit actually entail? And the cost?
Encroachment permit entails the applicant to apply for the city's encroachment permit, which has some conditions applies to it. In this case, it would be the conditions of notifying the residents and putting their own barricades and the cones at the closure limits. Normally, with construction activities, we will require more. We'll require insurance certificates from the contractor and so forth, but in this case, we're not requiring this from the applicant. I can't remember the cost on
I
top of
believe
my
an
head
encroachment
right
permit is $354.
now. I'm sorry.
$354, I believe, for a San Bruno encroachment permit.
And that's for
or thereabouts.
and that's inspection services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the top of my
I'm trying to compare this with what this applicant would be going through.
Sure.
And why that, and how that cost would be justified. I
I'm sorry.
understand that staff needs to do some, some legwork here and things, but absent an inspection, I'm not just trying to see what, whether they'd pay that or maybe a reduced cost or an adjusted cost.
So the costs in this, the council retains the authority to make an adjustment to the cost. In this case, there would be a follow-up to make sure that the barricades and the notification was properly made. But you are certainly free to either waive or adjust that cost at your discretion. I would just add one more nuance to this item. It's been the council's specific interest in past road closure situations to be confident in the notification to people prior to the council's consideration, people in the affected area, notice to them prior to the council's consideration of the road closure for action. That did not occur in this case due to the timing of this request it being placed on the city council agenda. So that notification has not, people in the neighborhood have not been notified by the city of the road closure request. That's just a piece of information for the council.
Okay, so through the chair, and I'm quoting, I believe it's about 354, but that is for usually 2 inspections. So in this case, there is no inspection. The applicant is being requested or must go ahead and notify the affected neighbors, must put up the barricades, must take down the barricades. So staff would then want to go by the next morning just to make sure, Tuesday morning, to make sure the barricades and pick them up. Is that correct, or drop them off, pick them up?
We have to have discussion with the applicant to determine whether they do need barricades or not from the city, and that's something that I've heard in the past that the city has provided, for other road closures.
Okay, so anyway, in light of the lighting situation and the number of youth, I want safe, and it's dark early, and if there has to be bad weather, let's just make it safe. So I'd like to see this go forward. I'd like to introduce the resolution. I'd also, on the fee of the encroachment permit, in this particular situation, due to the lighting element and that it doesn't require any inspections, I'd like to have that waived.
Okay. Carol?
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember or Vice Mayor Marty Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.